Asante, thank you. Guys, this is SpaceYaMagari. My name is Magari. I'll be your co-host for tonight. I'll be holding on where we need to talk about anything because today is our July open mic edition. We usually have every month to have one open mic where we don't really have a topic to go by. Rather, the conversation is driven by watu wa magari in general, kila mtu wa magari hapa. So it's really a place where we come to unwind what has been the news on the platforms, nini imekutwanga, things that have impacted the car scene, realities that are hitting us, that there's been a lot of accidents. For example, we have the new NTSA regulations, alcohol imerudi kwa barabara. The expressway has been reinforced better so that if you crash alone. There's a lot that has happened in the car scene that we consider to be things we'd want to hear about. So without much interruptions, na wakaribisha nyinyi wote. This time this is 7:30 in the PM, inalingana na mahali huko, 1 minute to +1. But the time says that we can start officially SpaceYaMagari. So sahi bado tunaita kila mtu. Call people, use the hashtag SpaceYaMagari. I'm sorry kidogo, kuna watu hapa juu nikaa barabarani na konga hapa juu. Poleni. Amen. So it's really, we are sharing the space. Sambaza Injili, let people know where you are tonight. You're listening into SpaceYaMagari. We do not take it for granted. Tunajua kuna vitu mingi ulikuwa unafaa kufanya, but you're here. So thank you so much. So share the space. Kaactive, I see you. Nyambura, I see you. She can drive. Request for the mic. Yed, come to the speakers panel. Let's talk. Chris Genzi, Kuja, Eugene. Kagwai Maina, come. Let's talk about what so much. So share the space. Kaactive, I see you. Nyambura, I see you. She can drive. Request for the mic. Yed, come to the speakers panel. Let's talk. Chris Genzi, Kuja, Eugene. Kagwai Maina, come. Let's talk about what we saw. We saw wonders. Kwa Alex. Miss Kimtai, you're here. Good stuff. Trendy Setter, I see you. Our designer. Undule msana tutengenezea posters. If you've been seeing SpaceYaMagari posters, there is one person that has been making sure whatever you see is consistent, full and amazing work. Anaitwa Trendy Setter. If unaweza pitia kwa timeline yake hapo ndani hivyo, mpatie job. The guy does a good job. You don't need to ask anybody else. Pitia tu kwa timeline ya SpaceYaMagari. You'll not be disappointed by whatever Trendy Setter will do for you. 10mm socket. Ako hapo ndani. Solomon, I see you. Atis, Ben Kibe, Ken Award, Felix Akoko, Kosewe. Okay, Mike zianza kuitishwa bana. Tunafungua space. It's really a conversation we want to have as Alex gets set, as he comes back onto the platform. Today we want to hear everybody. It's open mic. Request for the mic. I'm sending mics randomly to people. I'm hoping you guys will be accepting them as we go. And ukikata na kuona. Udo ukikata na kuona. Nyambu sasa.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob Magari.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, how are you? Hey, sauti inabadilisha space. Karibu.
Asante sana. I am doing so well. I'm so happy to be part of the space today. And I'm looking forward to an interesting and exciting discussion, especially it's been chilly. So I hope the discussion will be interesting enough.
Okay, so yeah, we hope it will be very interesting with you on board. We don't want you to actually say interesting. Unafikiri interesting inatoka wapi kasi wewe unakuja kufanya interesting hapa. Sawa Nyambu. Sawa, are we together? Stay there. She can drive. How are you? How's been your week and everything that you guys are doing? Jana mkatu release a video. Good morning.
Hi Bob. Hi everyone. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
We are hoping that your week has got off to a good start. So yeah, I guess thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, as always, to be a part of the space. As Bob mentioned, we are excited because we released our 3rd episode as She Can Drive Kenya. For those who are joining and maybe are new, She Can Drive Kenya is an automotive show. We aim to target the lady driver, any kind of lady driver. You should most definitely stick around, have a look, see what we got up to. We were actually focusing on road safety, and we got a chance to also work with Mobius Motors Kenya.
Hey, I wanted you to get there. How was it? How is the Mobius? Is it what we get promised ama tunachezwa hapa? Talk to us.
So Bob hamchezi. We can guarantee you 100% that the Mobius 3 is an actual car that you can walk into Mobius Motors and say, I want this car. Reason being, even from the variety from automatic and also manual, I was just like, wow, this is incredible. And also because of the safety features. Now, si ati tunajianika kusema ati magari nzee hazina safety features mbali, but Mobius 3 has most of the safety features in the newer cars. Retailing for about 4.5 M. You get all those anti-lock brakes, passenger airbags, child seat anchors, seat belts, pretensioners, vitu kama hizo. And the experience was very nice because we got to have a feel of the car, how it handles on road, off road. It was quite an experience. That's all I can really say for now. But yeah, most of the info is on our video. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's amazing. I saw you guys having to feature lady mechanics from Mobius, and that's nice.
Yes.
Nini wale wasee?
Kujaribu, tunashukuru Mungu.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
How does a new car smell?
A new car smells very good. Very good. That's all I can say.
Tumezoea ex-Japan, hata almost all of Kenyans have experienced that.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. New car smell inakwanga every time. Yeah.
Na kutoa rappers, hiyo tujazoea. Kutoa kwanza hiyo.
Haki.
Hiyo, anyway, iko na rappers?
Iko na rappers kila kitu bwana.
Sawa basi, tumesikia vibaya.
Hapana. Sisikie vibaya wewe, useme hivyo. But yeah, all in all, it was a great experience. Asante sana.
Awesome. It's great to have you on the space. Stick around. Make sure you stick around. It's open mic. We want to hear different topics, different opinions, what has been catching people's eyes and ears. Yes, nimeona mama wa F1 hapa amekuja mbio, anaitwa Palvin. Karibu sana Palvin. As big to Palvin, I see Mr. Ngumi. Yes, Ngumi uko ndani hapa, kuja. Mtu wa GTR. Ati Audmari Nissan GTR 32 Skyline. Kuja hapa msee. Form.
So, asante sana. Hi guys. I'm new. Okay, not that new. I've had like 3 or 4 or 5 of these things, of the spaces. Yeah, and nilikuwa juu umesema it's open mic. I just wanted to ask a few questions and hear what people have to say. Yeah, so like the question is, kuna hizi gari zinatoka India, these Indian cars. Like I saw some Ugandan guy had tweeted juzi, or was it today, about he saw this car called the Force pickup. He saw it in a car show in Uganda. And I was wondering why, is it that Kenyans haven't discovered the Indian cars, or are we scared, or because nimeona kuna gari nzuri huko, like the specs are almost equivalent to many of these Kenyan cars, ex-Japan cars, and yeah, they are good. And I'm wondering why aren't Kenyans interested, or are we not trusting Indians, or shida ni gani? Yeah, so anyone can speak about it.
Okay, are we not trusting Indians? Because somebody went and saw some trucks in Uganda. Pickups and trucks are happy. They had an auto show huko ya pickups, and I think that's where Mr. Ngumi you're referring to, that truck was there. And your concern is why Kenya we are not really picking up those units from India. Sijui form ni gani. Nani ameingia hapa? Haya, mtu wa F1 kwanza huwa anauzanga Magari. Wewe Palvin. Sasa. Good afternoon,
Hi,
good morning, happy new year. Kuja kwa space.
Sasa Kev, and she can drive Nyambura, Ngumi, for Pete's sake, ako hapa leo. Anirumia tu kidogo. I really, the day I learned my lesson the hard way, I wish I did, like, nilitumiwa specs, niko like, let me just post it as it is. Sikushughulika nayo, but for Pete's sake, ulinifunza adabu, nimeshika na mikono zote mbili. Anyway,
we learn.
Kusiza magari za India, to be honest, I don't know much, but I've had From the little I know, nimesikia, okay, magari za India, they compare, and how should I put it? The road environment huko ni pretty much kama yetu, or even worse. The traffic, nini. So unapata mtu aki-import gari from India, most of them unasema imekuja imechoka, sijui nini, things like that. So far, hizo ndio rumors nimesikia, but to anyone who knows more, kuhusu hiyo story ya why most people don't import cars from India, atuambie, because hayo tu mimi ndio najua. As for Formula 1, umetaja tu, by the way, from sijui when my head has been all in Formula 1, nasikia hata I can't process anything else. But anyway, anyone else who can speak can speak on your story ya India, atuambie. Mabarabara zao ni mbaya, so I think that is the reason why. Let me not say ni kama zetu, but we share, let me say, similar challenges.
Okay, sawa. Huyo ni mtu alikuwa amezoea kuona tu macho ya Hamilton mpaka sasa anasumbua tu hapa kwa timelines. For Pete's sake, how are you mtu wa Makex? What's going on? What's popping? Tulete gari za India. What's going on?
Ameinua gari.
Alinua gari. Utakutana na insurance. Vipi?
I want to talk about. I don't know much about Indian cars, yeah. But there's one thing. Ngoja nipite mahali mbwa zinapiga kelele.
I thought hao ni wale wase wako. Are those your boys?
No. Niko karibu na wao. Ni wa majirani hawa. Sasa
Nilimuru baridi.
Baridi ya Limuru. Sasa there's a couple of pages I follow on Instagram, and they are controlled by Indian guys, so they post a lot of their Indian cars. And from what I see, at least I don't have solid evidence, but what I see, they are just as equally good a car. Now, another thing I know, good thing we talked about the Mobius, Mobius 3. The Mobius 3 is a copied car. The original car is an Indian car. Na imekopiwa spec for spec. The only thing wamebadilisha hapo ni China. Ikaitwa Mobius 3. I need to look for the name of the car, but it is an Indian car. So whatever we are driving here to Mobius, there's a guy in India anaendesha gari. I don't know what it's called. I keep forgetting that name. But there's an Indian car.
It's called bike. It's called the bike.
Yeah?
Bike BJ40. A bike BJ40.
Yes, it has a BJ something. And if that Mobius has been marketed, if that Nini is marketed, the Mobius 3 is marketed as it is, and if it's as good as it is marketed, then I think that that's the answer for us with Indian cars.
Okay, I don't know. So you agree it's really, as much as there is all that, is that what people call badge engineering? I don't know. Is that the thing? Ama ni just kuchukua badge kuuza hapa Kenya is a Mobius 3 and it's a bike? Because apparently, I don't know if rebadging. I don't know if Ngumi you can agree that this same unit is also in Nigeria going for the same name, BJ40. So I don't know if
I totally agree. It's called in Nigeria it's called Inosis or something. The company that she badged the bike in Nigeria. So
she can drive, can tell us.
Vile Kelvin amesema tu she can drive, can tell us. Ni Kelvin ama ni nani huyo? Mwenye amesema hivyo.
You know nini ndio mlikuwa site.
So what is the question? Sorry.
Wewe.
No. Hapana, unajua nimesikia hivyo, lakini kusema ukweli hata nilikuwa nimeona hizo badges debadging from a while back. Ni kama tu hizi za mabike. Unaenda kununua Kawasaki ya India na hata yani Kawasaki zingine hata hazifai, but then you still go and buy. But all I can say for now is that the car is nice. Hakuna story mingi hapo.
Okay, I think it's agreeable that they do the rebadging, which is really not an offense, and I wish that came out clearly even in their marketing structure. However, it's not really a factor because now it seems for Peter. So you agree that Indian cars probably might be an answer to our really question because they suit our needs. Ama ni story too.
Frankly, I really can't hold them against, and I really can't be pro them. Yeah, but we have zero experience. Yeah, all I meant is that if the Mobius 3 is as good as it's marketed. Yeah, and I've seen a couple of guys experience that kind. Wanasemanga si gari mbaya. The Indian cars are not that si mbaya. I don't know about reliability. It's anything beyond how they are marketed.
Okay, So I think it's true. It's true. There's even when you look at it, it's really there's something about it that you want to understand more about the unit, which I'm sure She Can Drive is just about to tell us about. She Can Drive, yes. Your hand is up.
Bob, just what for Pete's sake was saying is that maybe it depends on like your marketing strategy, because it's the whole Mzungu who has come with the idea saying that okay, we want to build this country from scratch. I mean, this car from scratch and build it in Kenya and just have this whole vibe of let's target our expatriates to come and buy. So I just think that the marketing strategy is very good. So if the car would have probably been marketed in another country, they would also have their own marketing strategy. So if you kind of sit down and talk to the guy, you'd understand, okay, now this explains why. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay.
And if you think about it, Bob, there's a couple of cars that have different names depending on where we buy them from. Most of what we buy. So for example, if I think about Mitsubishi hizi Pajero, kuna mahali inaitwa Shogun, kuna mahali kwingine inaitwa kitu kingine. If you think about even the Prado ya kawaida, there's in some places it's the Lexus GX. Na huku tunaitanga Toyota Land Cruiser TX. So it really depends on the Amazons and the Six. So I think it really depends, and I think I like what they do. So because they tend to represent it with the Kenyan brand. When we started hearing about Mobius, ilikuwa kale kagari dirisha ilikuwa makaratasi, it was a polythene bag, and that really associated the hardy car that was supposed to be used in the farms, but we also saw it a car, and the legacy continues. When we say Mobius, we think about a Kenyan car. Hatufikiri juu ile gari ilitoka India. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if we looked at another car, maybe tukiangalia Mobius, maybe it was it was a donut from somewhere else. So you never know, and I think for what it's worth, I think it's a brilliant marketing strategy. So when we think about Mobius today, we never think about that Indian car. We think about a Kenyan car.
Okay, sawa, that side and done. Kama uko na namba ya Mobius ukiwaona mahali waambie wakuja hapa kwa space. Hiyo story yes.
I can chip in on the Mobius story, yeah?
Yes. Chip in before after this waambie wakuje. Najua unaweza wapata haraka.
Yes. So when the first Mobius was being designed, and atukiangalia vile inakaa, like it looks local, and it's not like local designers are bad. It's just that it's really hard to do something locally, especially when there's no proper industry. Strangely enough, Mobius has a designer just to design the infotainment system. This is something you can buy off the shelf, but kuna vitu kama acoustics and things like that. And for you to target 4M as the buying price, now including VAT and whatnot, you'll have to jump a lot of hoops to get to that level. Here's an example. A brand new Golf GTI would cost you about the same by UK, about 4M. Remember, Volkswagen makes 1 million of these Golfs. So kuna economies of scale. Of course, the more you make, the cheaper things are. And places like Germany or UK or the West, they have a very active automotive scene. Ukitaka gearbox, kuna msana anaiunda Ruiru. Ukitaka VT, kuna msana anaziunda Kinoo, and things like that. But for you to do the same in Kenya right now, assuming you're importing at 80% of the things, it's really hard for you to get to critical mass. Remember, Seka Mobius, let's say give or take, they assemble around 10-20 cars a month. Not bad, but really good. And this is happening at a point where like cost is a factor. So you try to keep the cost at the absolute minimum. At the same time, make sure you're giving an absolute best car to your client, because msata kuja sema nalipa 4M kwa kitu inakaa hivi, haina Android Auto, haina heated seats and things like that. So that fine balance between you cutting costs and you actually delivering a high quality product is where Mobius waliona designing it locally is tricky, and that's why they went rebadging. And most motor vehicle companies were rebadged. Like I think the Suzuki that's being sold sahi, it's rebadged. Actually, it's an Indian Suzuki. It's not even a Japanese Suzuki. It's an Indian Suzuki, because for them to get economies of scale and to get critical mass is pretty tricky. And that's like Peter said, you have to develop cars for different markets, provided it works. But now, where does Mobius actually, the story inaingia Pixema, this is a car that was built in Kenya. Mobius assembly, ukiangalia assembly plant yao, and I think She Can Drive went down to their place hapa Samia Business Park. Hiyo gari inakuja kwa mabeseni, like iko kwa pallet, it's fully assembled locally. Is it the best? Of course not. But it's only Mobius who can actually come and say, we designed the seats, tukaenda kwa wase kama the steering rack. It's the same steering rack that the guys at Benz use. the gearbox is the same gearbox that the guys at BMW use. So they took the best of both worlds and they brought local designers kusema niaje, this is what we want, this is the market, let's put it all together, and at the same time get to a point of selling these cars at 4M. Of course we are not home yet, but a lot of laws have been passed. Kama wanasema if you build a car with 30% local content, when you say local content inamaanisha the leather for the seat itatoka someplace in Thika, the wiring itatoka Kwale Auto Industries Limuru and things like that. If you get to 30%, then we'll zero rate your car. So inamaanisha if this car is being sold for 4M sahi, you're able to buy it at 2.7, about 3M, which will still be cheap. With that happening, inamaanisha we are creating local industry. Remember, the local automotive industry died a long time ago. The Nyayo car died, and Kenya has been a very big automotive assembling place, especially down in the 80s, 70s. We had a Volkswagen plant in Mombasa, I think. We had a Peugeot plant in Mombasa. I think we had a Mercedes plant, if I'm not wrong, some point in Thika. I'll confirm that. But we had that, and that's why most of our fathers bought brand new cars, because they were cheap, they were available, and they were local. And that's where Mobius wants to take us back to. But I think it will boil down if actually guys will buy the car and actually appreciate it. And if you've actually driven that Mobius 3, it's an amazing car. It's solid. Well, of course, with us kuzoea ex-Japan and whatnot, for 4M I can buy a Prado 150. But Prado 150 will get it ex-Japan and whatnot. But the Mobius is honestly a good buy. If you have the money and you're willing to take the risk and buying a locally done car, the Mobius is an amazing car that I can 100% vouch for. Yeah.
Way. Okay, sawa Mobius. That's yes, yes, Pete.
Paul, just before we move on, kuna mtu amenitumia WhatsApp correct kitu, and I think it's worthwhile noting. The Mobius
Yes.
it's a Chinese car, not an Indian car. It's a Chinese company called. Let me just check that.
It's a bike BJ50.
Yeah, it's a Chinese. The manufacturer is a Chinese. The Bike Motor Corporation Limited is a Chinese car manufacturer based in Beijing, China, and
Mhm.
in India. So it's not an Indian car; it's a Japanese car. Just so we know, it's also from India.
Oh, point of correction noted. Thank you so much for feedback.
namwambia tu spelling hiyo bike. Unajua watu wa Nduthi kwa space
BAIC.
yes so
to watu wa Nduthi. Okay, she can drive. Your hand is up. I want to throw it back to you. I don't know if you have something to add. Aki, na history ya Mobius bana, muambie wakuja hapa. She can drive.
Yeah, Bob, it was just a side note, but also to thank you for providing this platform, because we're able to learn from each other, especially about the Mobius bit, because it's all about passion and understanding the car. And that's what I think Alex has talked about.
she can drive, I think, Plastic.
I think tumempoteza, but she was
I
driving
feel
across a very important point that yes, she can drive.
Yeah,
You're
Paul,
here.
I think, sorry, I'm on transit. That's why probably na potea. But just driving the point, ya kusema that we are so grateful that this platform is there. Because if we come with the opinion of, Mobius is such a beautiful car, even the feel, you'd have to feel it and understand the story. This is why we are so grateful for such platforms. So yeah, that was it. It was just kusema asante sana.
Hey, she can drive. But ever since you guys came on board SpaceYaMagari, there's been a very positive vibe coming in, and we are really so grateful. Mshikilie moyo huo, msiachilie hapo. Let me just really remind guys, kama umeingia saa hii, if you've been roaming the streets of Twitter alafu kakutana na SpaceYaMagari ongoing open mic. This is SpaceYaMagari. We are a car conversation space. We talk cars. We do every Monday a space from 7:30 in the PM. Every month we have a girl space. We have an open mic, and we'll also handle different topics in the automotive scene every Monday. So you'll find at least once a month kutakuwa na open mic, and that is what we are having today. This is the July open mic edition, hosted by SpaceYaMagari, and SpaceYaMagari has been on Twitter driving car conversations, and we're just a group of car people who came together with the concept of pushing the automotive idea and agenda. So it's all about talking about cars. That's why if you pass our beam, utasikia tukisema let's talk ile ya gari. So it's really an amazing thing, you guys being here at 7:55 in the PM, SpaceYaMagari. And just a quick reminder is that we have a YouTube channel that is at SpaceYaMagari. Pitia huko kwa YouTube. We also have an Instagram and Facebook. So when you're when you amka, unajua wala watu mnaendaga lu na simu, we know where you go a lot on Facebook kwa short videos. We are on SpaceYaMagari there, so kindly let's have a conversation on SpaceYaMagari and we see how best we can come up with. Sasa tulikuwa tunaongelelea story ya Mobius. We just had She Can Drive bring around a whole conversation about Mobius, which is not done yet. We are hoping to have that conversation with Mobius extensively one of these days. That is something that we are really in the works about, and we are happy that you guys are here. Sawa sawa, Palvin, I am back at you.
If I may add kidogo, I think the Mobius being Kenyan na eco built hapa Kenya, being at 0 mileage, the whole idea is to encourage us let me say kuzoea kununua gari ikiwa brand new. You get, because in my point of view, nonanga Mobius 3 compete with the imports kama za the Jeep Wrangler. That is me. Kuna mwingine ataopoza sema hey, una compare Mobius 3 na an American car, inakuja imetumika, so we can compare it. And I feel if I had the money right now, I know, not I think, I know I'd go for the Mobius 3, not only because I was running a campaign for them and I'm trying to get the car at Najaribu kwa please nini, but I genuinely love the car. I've had good stories about it. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance ya kuidrive, and I'm hoping your time itafika, but Mobius is here to shed the light on Kenyans buying cars at 0 mileage. Okay, it's not possible for most of us because of finances, but if you can try, nunua. I remember in one of our spaces, Esna was saying, Nyajagani ununue gari at a cheaper price, ni foreign use, yes, but ikikuja, hiyo pesa yenye ulisave, upate tu, umeshinda garage nayo, kutengeneza, sijui kufanya nini, which is, if you can take the pressure, ni sawa, you do it, but I'm all in on Mobius, by the way. Mobius 3 napendewa gari kabisa. If you can, not only the Mobius, by the way, if you can get your car at 0 mileage, by the way, but as Kenyans, to embrace the Mobius, to actually, how is it called, could try and put salt, how should I put it, let's not be salty about it because it's not 100% Kenyan, because I feel now, please nasino baya, I feel as Kenyans hatujafika your point here, we can fully own a corporation such as Mobius. We need help kidogo to a little push hapa na pale, and also Mobius has created jobs. Tu wanafanya kazi huko ndani, si wageni, si people from outside, ni Kenyans. The engineers who assemble those cars are Kenyans.
The women.
There's this, yes, the woman, I was to mention her, by the way. Niliona hiyo tweet yako and I was like, wow, this is so inspiring. I'm not an engineer, by the way. I am just a car enthusiast. Mi ni mdomo tu ikifika kwa magari, but I was so inspired to the extent, yeah, wow, this is so nice. Mobius is doing such a great thing. Iwe owned by a mzungu, whoever, as long as imebeba the Kenyan name, for me, I really do not care. I love it. And Mobius, please, Maliumko, we said something your way, tafadhali msome, approve it, get back to us. Tunawapenda sana genuinely, and it's a wrap for me. That's all.
Okay, sawa. Palvin, yes.
Let me just mix things a bit. So I posted a picture of an accident at the expressway. You can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
go for it.
Uko.
I think Alex.
Uh-huh.
Let me just share it on the Jumbo Tunapojo. Just continue speaking.
Okay, so I did share a picture about the expressway, the accident, and I categorically said clearly there's a design fault to the expressway. That was just to revoke reactions about you guys, and let's just try have an honest conversation. Are Kenyans bad drivers? That will be my question, like, to you. Are we bad drivers? Like, ukiangalia wase unapata msee is doing 160 and you see kuna fog hajawasha mataa, you know, msee amepata incident katikati ya barabara hajaweka triangle, if you even have that triangle, and things like that. Like, we have really, really, really terrible road etiquette, and unfortunately most of the accidents that we have, and not only the expressway, it's back to us being like just, for lack of better word, just bad people, you know. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Are we bad drivers? Are we bad drivers? Wewe ni dereva mzuri. Turuke very fast. Mercedes anaitwa Miss Kimutai. Kevo, tulia, watu wa hivyo tunawafikia kabla hatuja chop gari yenu. Mercedes,
Yes, Bob. Hi.
hi, are you a bad driver? Are you a good driver? What are you on the road? Things are
First
bad,
of all,
accidents everywhere.
So, you asked me if I am a bad driver on the road. Well, I'll first of all start by recognizing that I was taught to drive by an automotive engineer dad. So he taught me, Ilea, you are on the road. You take care of us who are in the vehicle, and you take care of the people outside the vehicle, the pedestrians, the other drivers, the everyone else. So personally, I think I am a fairly good driver, though sometimes napima speed zangu kidogo niende kidogo niangalie if I can maintain. But yeah, that simply says sometimes we can be careless just because we get excited. And I think that's what happens. Sometimes we just get excited and we become careless. Because I've had 2 instances on the road. I think I have tweeted about this before, that one instance I was on the Eldoret, no, not Eldoret, it was the Nakuru Nairobi highway, just almost near Nakuru town. There's like a kabarabara safi hapo. So I was doing, I think, a speed of almost 120, and somebody just came from the side of the road, didn't check the road well, and I had to control myself, my composure, and know that I should make a very good decision. So I just braked, nearly screech brakes, as in I could even hear, I could even smell, and yeah, and I swerved. Luckily enough, Mercedes, at least tuko na, we can balance. So I at least I could control that. The second instance I had was now with another driver, and it was a matatu. So this guy bullied me off the road, and it got really bad because I almost hit a pedestrian. So I think sometimes we are just careless. Yeah, I will agree that there is a percentage, and it's a very minimal percentage of people who are very careful on the road. And then there's the others. Just because the other person is careless doesn't have to mean that you're also going to be careless, because you're also endangering your life and you're endangering the life of the other person. I think that's what I have to say. And before I finish, Alex had talked about the assembling point. I think Mercedes had something to do with Daimler. They wanted to start an assembly point here in Kenya. And I think it's a really good idea because it's going to give a lot of people jobs. Like, for example, the person who, my mechanic, I know he could easily get a job there. There are so many other people. There are ladies who are very capable of doing the jobs and all that. So I think it's a very good idea. Yeah.
Okay, so Mercedes gang agrees kuna shida pale. There's always been, if you're very regular, there's a saying on the road that kwa barabara wenda wazimu ni kila mtu, wewe ndio soba. Mura, are we careless? Are we bad drivers? MPG Auto, what's going on? MPG, tayarisha
Yes, I'm
mic.
here. I am
Are
here.
we good? How bad are we? Tuna boost tu? Tunajiangalia?
I will tell you, Kenyans are some of the best drivers. And
okay.
That is without any fear of contradiction. Kenyans are some of the best drivers. The conditions that we have to drive under are extremely difficult. Now, when we say Kenyans are bad drivers, remember, tunajenga manyumba. Every day in pipeline, nyumba zinabomoka. Tunajenga barabara, after 1 month, barabara ziko na potholes. A Kenyan engineer is useless. Madaktari kwa all these our hospitals, they're doing things. They are calling us money. They are treating us things. Nasikia kuna hospitali zingine kila mtu akona, what is that thing called? Ile inakuwa kwa tumbo. Amoeba. I hear some hospitals kila mtu akienda huko akona amoeba, and they're making a lot of money out of it. So our Kenyan doctors rubbish, are they useless? The reason I'm asking these questions is that so many times we are attributing systemic failures to individual fails. Kila time accident ikifanyika, everybody wants to say it's speed. Everybody wants to say, hey, they were speeding. Even here, the conversation will go around, oh, do we speed too much? Do we speed too much? We never really sit down and look at what exactly caused the accident. You remember Salga, the way there used to be so many accidents. Where are they today? I'm a driver squeeze may improve when they get to Salga. They were so rubbish 5 years ago, but today now, they understand Salga and they don't cause... what happens when we get to Salga that was not happening 5 years ago? When we ask ourselves these questions, you will find it has nothing to do with Kenyan drivers. It has to do with how laws and systems are enforced in this country. Systems starting from how do you design a safe road? That is the first thing that we should look at. Are our roads safe? Because I can tell you there's a place, the first viewpoint as you get out of Nairobi, that first viewpoint, kuna mahali Karao husimama, and there's a bridge after that. There's a day 3 cars rolled there. 3. Because there was a big pothole in the middle of the road. Nagari zinaigonga zinabust mataya. There's a day I saw conversation on just one group that I'm in. More than 5 people complaining. This week I bust a tire there. This week I saw a car rolling there. Is that road safe in the first place? Before you start talking about the driver, what is the responsibility of the government in this? We see matatus every day. They are overlapping. They are doing crazy things. They are entering junctions from the wrong side. Do the cops even care? I've driven to Arusha a few times, and a few times with in the company of Kenyans. And I'll tell you this: the moment Kenyans cross into Tanzania, hapo tu Namanga, you see all those zebra crossings, you see all those speed signs. Kenyans know how to observe them. What we have in Kenya is impunity. You will drive with somebody from Namanga all the way to Arusha, all the way to Moshi, Zunguka Ivo, Loitoktok. Within the Tanzania, they don't break speed limits. Nobody tells them not to, but they know Tanzania doesn't, Tanzania don't do that shit. When you reach a town in Tanzania and there's a zebra crossing on a dual carriage, zebra crossing, if there's somebody on the opposite lane trying to cross the road, you as the driver, is your duty to not be on that zebra crossing with pedestrians. And if you do it, you'll be arrested. You'll be stopped. And when you're pulled over in Tanzania, you'll not even find a lot of money. It's just pesa kidogo. It's pesa Kenyans can afford. But they make sure you never get away with it. You kanyaga that zebra crossing and there's somebody crossing it. 50 meters down the road, you're stopped. And you have to, and they emphasize and they insist on it, and they tell you you cannot do that here. The same people, muki cross pale Loitoktok. There's a great run, we went there a few years ago. All through Tanzania, 50, even some places 30. Natuko tunashikwa. Cross fika Loitoktok. Guys suddenly start doing 240. Barabara imeandikwa 50, but nobody cares. Why? Because we know in Kenya, nothing will be done to you. I can drive my car 200 kph, 300, and the police don't care. The law is just a suggestion. And to me, that is the biggest problem with everything we are trying to achieve as Kenyans. The law is a suggestion. The law says, do not overload your vehicle. You're stopped by 10 police at 10 different police checks, and none of them cares that you overloaded your vehicle. You should be carrying 14, you're carrying 20. Niliona an accident where 20 people died in an accident. Na wako kwa matatu. Na matatu inafaa imebeba 14. So this impunity breeds what you're seeing now. People know what is wrong. People know akiona hiyo 50 anafaa kwenda na 50. Now, the moment aambiwe kuna polisi, they actually drive at 50. Ukiambiwa ati today Naivasha to Eldoret is very tight. Kuna makaro wengi sana. People don't break those laws because they know you'll be caught. Si ati ukiona jamaa kiendesha gari ati the wrong side of the road. It doesn't mean that he doesn't know he's on the wrong side. It doesn't mean he doesn't know it's dangerous, but it is very convenient for him. And when you're rewarded for doing the wrong things, it reinforces you to continue doing the wrong things. How do you reward people? For example, if I sit in traffic and Sir Kelvin akuje and overlap and gets to work 30 minutes before me, he has been rewarded for doing something wrong. The only way to make sure Sir Kelvin stops overlapping is to punish him for doing something wrong. So if I'm sitting in traffic following the traffic, Sir Kelvin overlap, you have to make sure he doesn't get to work before me, so that tomorrow he's encouraged to follow the right thing. But every day we are punishing the people who are doing the right thing and we are rewarding the people doing the wrong thing. And then we are here wondering why our drivers so reckless, because every day they get rewarded. If I can drive to Nakuru in 1 hour without repercussions, why not? It means I can create more time. I can have more time to do whatever I want. But if I knew that flaunting a single speed limit will delay me by 5 hours, I wouldn't even try. And that is what happens in other countries. And our neighbor here, TZ, is a very good example. You see people talking about European countries and how they follow the law, blah, blah. Even if there is a big accident, people will just move aside and leave a lane in the center, blah, blah. Boss, can you ask what would happen if you don't do that? Just ask somebody who is there. I think Skoda guy can tell us what happens if you flaunt traffic rules, for example, in a, like Finland. It is the fear of what will happen to you that makes you stick to the law. Hii maneno ingine ati ya Kenyans are poor drivers. Kenyans are driving in other countries. Why are we not seeing an outcry that Kenyans driving in other countries are poor drivers? So hii maneno ya kushinda tukisema Kenyans can't drive blah blah blah. Kenyans cannot achieve anything without everything we try to do is just what do we say? It's just tainted in mediocrity because our standards and our laws are just suggestions and nobody follows up with them. It is all the way from our engineering, from our lecturers in university. What are they doing? They're sleeping with girls to give them grades. They're asking, they are hiding your marks so that you can do something. If you're a chick, they want to sleep with you. If you're a guy, they want money. Hiding your grades and calling it missing marks so that you can go back and bribe them with something so that they can, you see, this is what happens when laws are suggestions, when standards cannot be followed. When the big guy can break the laws, then it trickles down, because how are you going to enforce a law if you cannot enforce it on yourself? When we're designing roads, inawekwa safety, inawekwa pedestrian paths, inawekwa crossings, inawekwa footbridges on the design. Then what happens when it comes to the implementation? Hakuna kitu inajengwa. Then we're here saying, Kenyan engineers are bad, Kenyan engineers are poor. How could they not know? Boss, even laymen, even people cooking chips on the streets, they know that a highway like Outer Ring Road needs a footbridge. Everywhere you see children crossing, they know it needs a zebra crossing. You don't need an engineer to know that. But when the stomach and impunity is in front of everything else, we will continue with these cries. We'll continue crying. We'll continue saying Kenyan drivers are bad, engineers are bad. Sijui nini. Nyumba inabomoka, kills 100 people. Kenyan engineers are so useless. These evil engineers. It is the law that is not being enforced. For me, it's that simple.
Well, wow. You are taking no prisoners. Hey, Alex.
We okay. I don't think I can add anything. We had Mutida here. Ako wapi? Ye mtu kupita juu atuelezee.
I know, and before Mutida comes on board, I just want to remind guys who are just joining the space that this is SpaceYaMagari. The hashtag is always SpaceYaMagari. Please share the space. Share this space. Bana, umesikia mtu hapa whose wisdom, a lot of really handling things from the top level. And Mura, it's true. There's a very big problem at the top. Sometimes we fight huku chini and we'll never resolve the issue. Truly be said, impunity is a problem. It's something that inatusumbua. Where Billboard's KE, you're the one who brought this topic on board. Mutinda ako wapi kwanza? Ako huku Kevo, nani? Alex.
Asa nimtafute, nitampata. I know I'll find him.
Mtafute, and yes, Skoda guy.
Yes, I have to agree with MPG 100%.
Huko ni kubaya?
Kenyan drivers are good. I'm telling you, are good. Na nilisema after visiting there in May, niliwaambia you are, I mean, like mnataka some award of some sort, because the stress that you go, I mean, you endure every day. And you still get home. It's just crazy. So yeah, Kenyans drivers are good, but yes, the systems are failing us, and you can see just from the top what happens in other countries. For example, even if it's here, and not even the case is not yet over. When, for example, a minister, a president, or a prime minister, just a scandal kidogo tu, they have to sit down, either resign or sit aside and wait for the investigations. But what is happening and what has been happening on our Kenyan soil? Ukiangalia the big guys, starting from from the big house, you can see nothing is done. It's just impunity. So yeah, that trickles down to everybody. Sababu just as Mura said, ukiona hapa naweza penya na hakuna kitu tutafanyiwa. We here ukipenya, let me tell you, if I am caught speeding on a let's say this place is 80 and I'm doing 100, that's 20 kilometers per hour more than the recommended or than what I should be doing. So what will happen? Either I'll get a fine and my driving license will be suspended. By suspended, it will be suspended by 3 months, 2 months. Utapatiwa muda ujitetee, utaambiwa you are saying we should not take your driving license. Why shouldn't we take your driving license? And you know you are on the wrong. Mimi, I have to, I need a car, I use the car on a daily, but still you'll be suspended. I had a co-worker sometimes back. He was a driver. he was driving for a living, so he was driving bus, but he was suspended for 2 months for using an unroadworthy car. So unakuja kuambia mdosi, mimi siwezi kuja job sababu DL yangu imeenda, na unajua of course siwezi chapa job bila DL. Yeah, it's that serious. But yeah, if you see you can get away with it, why not? Yeah, that's my take.
Kevo, before we come to Nini, Kevo, how many times, okay, usiseme mara ngapi, have you ever gone on the road without a DL, Kevo? Ama labda hata hamna, hata labda ambebangi na
Well,
DL.
Bob,
Yeah.
Okay, speaking for myself, I've been on the road. I'm always on the road, rather almost daily, and number of times I've carried my DL with me is countable, I can say, because we have this notion with small personal vehicles that hatuwezi simamisha na karao, hata kikusimamisha maybe teme uko na hiyo chani yako kwa mfuko. So squeezy, the current trend, I think most people don't carry their DLs, but I always have my smart DL, and in case there's any quarry misimamisha na karao kwa roadblock nini, there's that app for NTSA. Just log into the app, show them the app, because technically what the cop wants to see from you is your license valid. So just pull up the app, show them the validation of the DL, and yeah, but niko na DL, but carrying it a number of times, si kila siku though.
I think I'll for what you're saying, I'll back to what MPG has said. I think there's a systemic failure with the people who are designing these same systems. An example is I lost my DL in 2017, the red book. So this was before smart DL. When NTSM sana niambia niaje data 2K ni kuprocess here. I'm like, this is supposed to be free. Aya, ukienda police station, someone wants something, nipe tao nikundi abstract. From the lowest guy, everyone wants something for the most basic of things. Sasa ukipoteza ID, kuna msana atakaupeka kitu ndio akupe abstract. Kwenda Huduma Center kuna msana kwambia niaje badala ya kungoja 2 weeks ni pesa 2 hapa nikundie. Unfortunately, that systemic issue has gone down up to the most basics of services. Example, last week I think I'm at, is it in Matu, some place in Eastern, ililipuka na gas. One, Matu inafaa kubeba 14, Matu inafaa kubeba gas, and iko even in the laws. Wewe kama driver, and I'm sure Bo Makanga alichukua hiyo gas akaweka kwa boot, and wanaendelea tu safari, wanaendelea kuweka wase. But there is a very huge disconnect between the laws that are made, the people that are enforcing the laws. Na sisi imefika point wakati tuko like, just like Mura said, nothing will happen. It's just a suggestion. And unfortunately, it's sad that we lose lives due to people like this. Let me just jump to Billboard. Your hand was up first. What's up?
Hi. So glad to be part of the conversation today. I have been listening most of the previous discussions. Are we bad drivers? I agree with what MPG said. Many times, I think there's something that this lady who was being trolled the other day, Caroline Motoko, there's something she said. if you are doing 140 on the road, the person behind you might want to do 140 because you want the normal impulse is that you want to keep the same distance between you and the next and the car in front of you. So if you do 140, they will go to 140. If you do 100, they will slow down and go back to 100. So what happens on Kenyan roads? You find, like, let's say when someone is overlapping, when two people overlap and you notice they have overtaken about 4 or maybe 10 cars, the next thing that comes to your mind is that, how am I even doing? Imagine the cop can't arrest all of us. So in the crowd mentality, I'm so guilty about this. I will not play the saint here. I have done this over and over again. You end up doing what people are doing because you are sure you can't be arrested, all of you. Like the intersection between Uhuru Highway and University. I think there is a lot of traffic nowadays because there's something they're trying to do on the roundabout. So you end up, if you are on the outermost lane, the one that goes to University Way in Nyerere, you end up following the outside lane because you have a space to overlap. So sometimes we are good drivers, but we easily buy to like someone said, if you know that there's no implication or you don't stand to get arrested because of overlapping or doing something that is illegal on the road, you end up going that way because you are sure nothing will happen to you. Because if you see the first person has been arrested, you will not even dare to overlap. So like someone said, we have laws, but these laws, they are just but a suggestion, and too bad we have cops on the road who are just out to fill their stomachs rather than focus on what is supposed to be their work. You go to a roundabout and meet a cop who is arresting a guy, I don't know, because they did something petty, and they'd rather deal with the guy and try to get the bribe they want from the guy, because that is all Kenyan cops. Hakuna cop hakuitishangi pesa. So like they just want the money. So the cop would rather concentrate on the guy and leave people mess up the whole roundabout. People are trying to overlap on the roundabout, and it's so freaking dangerous on the road. You know, many times I have to speed. I thank God I have not been hit from behind, because if I see you trying to do something really off on the roundabout, I try to slow down fast, because I know even if you hit me, you will waste my time. You might even pay me, but chiki mbona tuone tukasumbuane baadaye. Let me break down and let's continue. So I think Kenyans are good drivers, but sometimes we buy to peer pressure. We want to do what someone else is doing. If you see someone break a law and they don't suffer the implication, the consequences of the same, you want to do the same because everyone wants to arrive on time or maybe some minutes earlier. And I don't know. I drive in Nairobi a lot. I am on the road almost every day. You notice, like on the superhighway, someone will aggressively want to overtake you. They will do everything. They will even almost get hit trying to overtake you, and then you go to meet them on the next bump, because at some point you have to slow down. So you find you are taking such a huge risk, and in the long run you have only saved about 3 minutes. 3 minutes cannot do much to you unless you are what's the name of that guy ule jamaa wa Tesla. Like, try to be patient. Hata kama ni ku overtake msee, be careful about it. Sio tu ku overtake for the sake of it, ama venye unaonanga mtu amekuingia vibaya and the only thing in your head is that person is not a qualified driver, and the next thing you want to do is to overtake them because you don't see them in front of you. Don't buy to that adrenaline impulse. Don't buy to that peer pressure thing. And maybe for me, one thing I'm so
Billboard, we're losing you.
Billboard, we're losing you. So as you come back, let me just jump directly across the board to our friends in Uganda. Pickups, how are you? Uganda, are you bad drivers, or do you have the same problem with systemic failure as Kenya? Quickly 2 minutes, and then we give someone else.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this. Actually, Uganda and Kenya seem to be twins, I can say. We have the same problem with our forces. Yes, nothing is different on this side also. But I won't repeat what MPG said, because it's exactly how it's happening across. Corruption is destroying everything. Bad roads, bad designs of some roads are designed poorly. Some materials, I don't know whether they first smear Vaseline on some roads because they can be as slippery as a problem. It's just a mess. But that aside, saying we are bad drivers or good drivers, as someone who has also done some good mathematics and statistics, I would say So concluding to be good drivers or bad drivers is okay. Saying bad drivers is generalization. When I would look at out of 10 people driving on the road, how many have gotten accidents? If they are less than 2, then we are good drivers. That small number, yes, has its own problems. And away from the bad roads, we as humans have also our own issues on our own. Because you will find, I know I have this normal saying that says, many of us know how to move a car, but very few of us know how to drive. Yes, you may know how to put drive and reverse and then move, or you put gear 1, but how do you do everything you do on the road? Do you have self-discipline? Most of us have ego. Ego in terms of I don't want to be told what to do. Oh, I have a good car. I want to show you guys how good it is, and you end up messing. There's a video I saw recently. I don't know who posted it, but it's from one of you guys. Someone who was overtaking everyone. I don't know what street that was. And in less than a kilometer, they found him dead. The car had rolled like 1,000 times. That's now I could call that either ego or he was drunk. But that goes back to self-discipline. You've taken your drink, and how many drinks you've taken. Do you feel it's safe enough for you to drive? And then at the same time, what type of car are you driving? There are some cars, yes, you can drive at 200 kilometers per hour and you feel safe in it, considering the road. But there are some cars you would want to risk. This Japanese cars of ours, it has a speed of 180, but before you reach 160, you feel the car is floating in air. So you may want to be careful with whatever you're driving. And then we also have drivers who are easily provoked on the road. You're driving your Subaru, no offense on a Subaru, you're driving your Subaru, some guy is driving a GTR. He provokes you into a race, you will take it. Please be sure of what races you're going in. And you end up messing up. If it's a Subaru on a Subaru, fine. The GTR on a Benz, yes, they can fight. Or GTR on a Mustang, they can fight the war. But a Subaru, fight with your fellow Subarus. It's kawa. But if you keep getting into such small fights, you end up messing big. Then back to MPG's thing, also, like I was saying, the road designs of ours are also poor. You find an unmarked road. There's a time I was driving here in Uganda on a newly constructed road in the night, heavy rain in the night. So driving, I was at around 80 because I wasn't sure of the road. This guy hits me full light. I tried to reduce to 40. By the time he took off, I realized I was going off-road. I was in a corner, the road was unmarked, so I wasn't seeing that white lane. That's how badly I was. Assuming I was in 100, I was going to fly off. So sometimes mistakes are not our own, but even on our own, it all comes to self-discipline. I think that summarizes my. And then before I leave, I would just like to appreciate DB Cooper. I don't know if he's online. He came and represented, though we didn't meet. Some lady, I think we confused him, so we ended up not meeting. But it was nice for him to come and be part of us at the auto show yesterday. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Asante sana pickups. MPG and Doti, I'm coming back to you. Mutinda, kindly connect haraka. We are waiting for you here. So Emily, please go first quickly, and then Mutinda, you can changia a bit. Emily, the mic is with you now.
Okay, Asante, thanks for this opportunity. Kenyans, we are very good drivers. MPG summarized it. But there are many other factors apart from what MPG noted. Our attitude. Vile tu alisema, you go to Tanzania, you follow the law, and then you come to Kenya and you just drop the guard. So attitude yetu ni mbaya sana. Also, you're driving and somebody is not really driving at a high speed ahead of you, and then you overtake them. Before you know it, they're just zooming past you, trying to create some, competition on the road. I really don't know what happens at that point. Sijui wanakwanga absent-minded, and then when you overtake them, now they behave like, in primary school, I have to be the one ahead. Hakuna mtu anaweza kunipita, or maybe they're looking at your car and they're thinking, hey, kwani Toyota inaweza ku-overtake aje Mercedes Benz? And then they just create some crazy competitions on the road, and you're thinking, yeah. What's wrong with Kenyans? So everybody's running their race, everybody knows where they are going. So when somebody is overtaking you, maybe they're rushing someone to hospital, or they are late for an appointment. So it's not a competition about vehicles. Maybe somebody went and pimped their vehicle. There was that discussion going on. Was it called mods or whatever? So they want to test how fast this machine can move. Lots of other factors that just make us, you know, become bad. Are we bad or are we bad drivers? I don't know. Like that accident that happened on the expressway. I think the SUV was just collateral damage. You know, maybe I don't know. He wasn't sure because it's like he got into this lane and that matatu had he had intention of not paying for the whatever because they do that a lot, even the taxis at the airport. But squeezy wanashikwa. So if you drive maybe Uber and whatever, and then you tailgate another vehicle akipita, and then you unapita hiyo barrier, they are caught kwa malls. Then they go to the malls because it's the same company. So your vehicle is on the system. So when you go to the mall, you are clamped because you didn't pay. So I don't know why you're in business and then you just fail because from El Slasi to Mlolongo, for example, it's about 240, and this is a bus carrying passengers. You're in business, you just put 240 aside and pay. But they want to play games. I mean, Kenyans, we are used to playing games, trying to beat the system, trying not to, just fighting whatever system that is in place. We want to oppose everything. We're just an opposition kind of nation. So I don't know, we are good drivers, we know the rules, but we break them on purpose because as MPG said, tunajua tu hakuna kitu itafanya. Kama ni karao, anataka umfinyie finje. So attitude change. So let's just change our attitude and just do the right thing. I've always said, we do the right thing all the time. Endeavor to do the right thing. When you're driving, just do the right thing. If the speed limits are 40, just do 40. Yeah, I know watu wa turbo charge ukiambia mtu afanye 40 anashangaa. But yeah, that's my contribution. Thank you.
Okay.
Asante sana MPG, na itabidi utundie traffic laws. Mutinda, thank you for coming back. What do you have to changia on this?
MPG for president.
Okay, good evening everyone.
Evening.
Tuko salama.
Okay, now Alex ndio amenifanya niingie hapa leo. I think he got me riled up by talking about the bad design at the expressway. Well, I think what we need to agree, and many people have listened to trying to cover up the fact that we have bad drivers. Apart from being bad drivers, yes, we have bad enforcement of the traffic rules. That's another factor. We have bad designs. Yes, we have other roads that are designed badly, or even poor workmanship. That is a big cause of accidents. All these contribute, but the question here asks, are we bad drivers? And that's a yes for me. I'll give you an example. There are these items on the road called deceleration lanes and acceleration lanes. And we have people coming to make turns on roads with deceleration lanes. They do not use the deceleration lanes. They use the overtaking lane to go all the way around, block the entrance to the other road. Do not use the acceleration out. So what you have is a tailback because somebody has decided to wait at the entrance of the road instead of using the acceleration lane, which makes it a faster exit. This is a sign of a person who doesn't know how to use these roads. That's one point. Number two, we have many people. I know many of you know a couple of guys who have bought driving licenses, never ever entered a class, bought driving licenses, akajifunza kuendesha gari kwa field huko, alafu anakuja kuendesha gari. These are people who at the roundabouts, they don't know which lane to use. They'll be on the extreme left and they want to go around the roundabout and back to where they came from. These are the things that are causing accidents. At the beginning, they were just fender benders in the city, things which didn't have casualties, but these are the same people who now are being let loose on the expressway, the bypasses. If we dual a road, that means you have 2 lanes of high speed. So our speed limits move from 80 to 110. These guys are the ones who are driving at 40 kilometers an hour on the overtaking lane. They don't want to move for traffic. They're the ones who would want to go over speed limits because now they feel like they have the freedom and they can't control the car. Slight wind on light cars, somebody is unable to control. A dog crosses the road anapiga full brakes, the car is unstable. People are not maintaining their cars well. Alafu sasa tunasema ni bad road design ama polisi hawanishiki. You don't do these things as a driver. You don't do these things because you don't want to be arrested or fined. You do these things because you're on the road and your life, together with the life of other road users, is in your hands. So if we blame police, we blame bad road design. And we have been trained. When you come to an area which has bad roads, potholes and whatever, why are you driving at 100 kilometers an hour? We can say maybe we are not aware first time round. That's acceptable. But if you're a frequent user and you know the road is bad, why are you speeding? Another thing is I've observed that pedestrian crossings, drivers will not stop for pedestrians. If you have gone to driving school, those are the cardinal rules that we were taught. I see guys fighting with pedestrians on pedestrian crossing. So I know everyone would like to point at something that is a problem here, but I'd say this is what we call bad driving. And as we have seen a lot of horrible accidents in the past, can I say 3 months? And everyone is wondering what's happening. I say this is a manifestation of all the bad drivers and all the lack that they've had. Now it's running out for many people. I believe maybe if we have at least a refresher, some sort of refresher where everyone, when they're going to renew their license, maybe after every 2-3 years, they sit for that test. Maybe we'll reduce the number of accidents around our roads. Yep, that's my contribution. Thank you.
Mutinda,
Yes.
I don't know. I want to just bring a question to you, and I want you to think about it and tell us. I agree, totally agree. It goes back to actually who you are as an individual, as a driver. Some things are not really about any enforcement. But come back to something Mura mentioned. Mura mentioned that our system rewards this mediocrity aspect, and that really triggers the reward system in humans. And so is it something, I want you to just imagine roundabout where you're talking of a scenario where we don't know lanes, and then here is a police officer telling you, bro, unafunga jam just because you're following the right lane, and anakwambia Kenya hapa tokea pande ile ingine, and you just move. Have you been in such scenarios? How do you move? And as you think about that, guys, the hashtag is SpaceYaMagari. We're doing this conversation with car lovers, car people in the house. I want to come back to Mutinda and just hear what Mutinda has to say. Yeye ukubali ama yeye wadiki obstruction, because technically now that becomes an obstruction. Ukikataa kusonga maana kwambia, or how do you play that card? And coming to, after we hear Black Hawk, I want to quickly jump to OT and then Mr. Ngubi. Black Hawk, Mutinda.
Okay, I agree with you. There's a lot of policemen out there who are promoting this bad behavior. They will tell you, hey, you know what, unafunga jam, pita hivi, enda hivi. Again, it's back to the rules. The policeman trumps all the rules. If he says go this way, it's that way that you have to go. But the problem with that is, kesho your policeman, you won't be there. Then people will do what? Follow exactly what was asked of them yesterday. But again, we understand, why do we have these road rules? These rules are supposed to give us a safe way to get from point A to point B. These rules are supposed to help us to expedite our movement on the roads, the roundabouts, all of this. But if we go against those rules, that's why we find ourselves stuck in traffic. I've been on Eastern Bypass many times, and a simple situation where maybe there is a car that is stalled or slowed down, 2 minutes, watu wameshaanza overlap. You have five lanes na hawataki kujua, wanafunga your place. You can sit. I've sat there for like 5 hours because of that. And even when there is no traffic, you'll find policemen on that road asking people, hey, kuja upite huko, overlap on this side, open, fungua traffic, that contributes to the bad behavior that we have on the roads. But at the end of the day, again, as you said, it's a personal choice. am I going to break rules to get myself where I'm going because no one is watching or there's no consequences to this? At the end of the day, wewe ndio utapoteza because hiyo jam utajipata ndani yake also. So that's my contribution to that.
Okay, thank you Mutinda. Amazing submission. It really turns back to sisi kama watu. So Mutinda agrees there is an aspect of bad drivers. Ndani yetu, there is like a bad driver in everybody. It's just that driver needs to be stewarded by a working system that Mura is talking about. The hashtag guys is SpaceYaMagari. Yes, Mura?
I have kabla Mutinda aende and Emily. I would probably okay, I have a question for them. Is there any other society where people follow the law because it's good for them, or do they follow it because it's being enforced? Or is this a new requirement that we are putting on Kenyans? Because if you ask me, the world over, everybody knows the law has to be enforced. Kenya, why do we expect people to follow the law by goodwill? Hiyo zebra crossing Black Hawk amesema is the same one when you cross into TZ. Kenyans don't compete with pedestrians on the zebra crossings because they know you'll be arrested and you'll pay a fine. Is there anywhere else kwenye laws are just suggested and people are left na wanajua because the government said it's 50, it's 50. Now you cross 50, no repercussions, but they still follow 50. Please, if there is any other society that does that, I'd like to know.
Black Hawk, under the bus. Do you have a response?
My response is enforcement has to be done. We are all humans. Humans from Europe, humans from America, humans from Asia. If there's no enforcement, we shall break those rules. So that should be a discussion for another day. How are we going to enforce these rules? But at the end of the day, it is a personal choice. Ukigonga mtu kwa hiyo pedestrian crossing akufe, wewe ndio uko kwa shida. So you're going to wait for somebody to enforce for you, or you're going to enforce by yourself, because this is the safety of others. It's for your safety also. So I agree with you. There's no enforcement, and that's why we have a lot of bad behavior. But again, from my previous submission, we have also those drivers who have no clue what they're doing on the road. They're just getting themselves from point A to point B. Those are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones killing people.
Okay. So Magari. Yes,
and don't you think maybe enforcement would get those drivers off the road? Because if the police were more strict, we get all those characters on the road.
I agree. Enforcement will get them off the road. Yes.
Yeah, we get them off the road.
Kuna polisi hawajui hata hizo traffic rules.
Again,
no, actually, let me just chip in.
Again, we go back to the
Emily. Sorry, Mura, a bit. I agree with Emily. Like this one time I was arrested. Alafu najaribu kuambia Karao, manze, I'm not doing that speech, and I'm sure I'm not doing that speech. Akaniambia mzee, mimi nilipata D, hiyo ingine utaambia judge. So I'm like you're the guy who's supposed to control, and when unapakwa, I'm like the fuck man. But anyway,
Alex, enforcement includes enforcing the law on that cop. It's not just enforcing one way. It also includes enforcement on the cop to do the right thing. It includes enforcement on the cop to understand the law that they're trying to enforce. I mean, enforcement doesn't mean ati ni wewe tu naambiwa. It also tells the cop that you cannot stop somebody unless they have done a mistake. And if you do it, we are going to enforce the law on you.
I agree on that. I agree on that. And Oti, I know your hand has been up. Just give me a minute. So here's a scenario. So tumeenda nawe drive na kina Mutinda, we're doing this stuff na kina Nomad, tumezunguka all the way to Marakwet, Kitale. Now as we're coming back, I wouldn't say we are speeding, but we're pretty fast. Say we're doing 120. And then some cop down there in Turbo, some 100 kilometers off TZ, some 100 kilometers off Eldoret atushike. Atuambie niaje. So these are your options. Wewe nipe 5k sahi and you go to your shugulis, or urudi kotini Monday. Remember, you don't even know anyone in LD. Urudi kotini Monday. So this is you coming back from your place in Mombasa Road, from a place in Karen, back to your court, just because, and on one end, of course, you want to follow the rules, and of course, there need to be punishment for your mistakes. But as a Kenyan, let's just be honest, which option would you pick?
Very, very sensible. I got money and go. Because as humans,
again, it now comes back to Mutinda. It's not a systemic failure. We are part of the failure.
No, it is a systemic failure because in well-run countries, you're not forced to go back to court next week because you are speeding. In
Oh, it's an
TZ,
option.
you're given an instant fine. You're given a ticket right there and then. In some countries, they even mail you the fine at home. So you don't have to break your appointments or you don't have to not go bury your mom because you are speeding. You're given a ticket, you pay it next week. So this thing of that you have to go to court because you crossed the yellow line is just forcing you into the box of those guys who want mediocrity because they want to keep eating your money. And this is what I'm calling enforcement. If we were to go into proper enforcement, it is enforced both ways that, look, this guy broke a traffic rule, yes, but we need him to go and build the country. So badala ya Alex ashindwe kwenda kufunganisha betri zake za EV because alicross yellow line, you know what? Fine him 2,000 shillings, tell him to pay by MPESA, let him continue with his job. That is enforcement. Enforcement doesn't mean that you have to go to court. And this all this builds into this confusion that nimestopiwa Mombasa. I have a some infraction, very simple things. I'm stopped in Mombasa, I'm coming to Nairobi, and now have to go back to Mombasa on Monday. I can't. Enforcement means it has to be fair and efficient. Enforce it both ways. So long as our system is not working is not looking at justice and also working for us, we'll always be this confused because we're always looking for shortcuts.
Actually,
Wow.
it's true.
Interesting.
Let me.
Skoda, just before you go, Oti, I hope at Kuruki, if you can just quickly. Oti, hi.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I wanted to add on to what MPG said, but I wanted to answer from the driving school when you're starting. It's something I've noticed that the driving schools don't really emphasize how dangerous cars are because it's a machine that's moving at it's more than 1 ton in weight. You can move up to 100 kilometers per hour, and they don't really put the weight on you to realize, like, our driving system, how people are taught to drive, doesn't really emphasize the danger of the machine that you are driving. Add on to that what MPG is speaking about enforcement and the road culture, and you find that even within Nairobi, if you drive long enough, you'll notice that there is a culture about roads that you just pick up on as you are driving. So, for example, outer ring, you end up everyone keeps to the right. Why? Because matatus are on the left. Why are matatus on the left? Because they don't have stages, so they stop on the slowest lane. On the southern bypass, people keep left usually, and then around 9 p.m., 10 p.m., they switch over and start keeping right. When you ask them why are they doing that, and you'll just find people saying that, oh, I had someone hit a trailer a while ago, so I'm starting to keep to the right. So now what ends up happening is that now there's lane discipline because right side lane is for the faster moving cars, and that's why you find all the slow moving cars are there. And then because of that speed difference, accidents are more likely to happen. So it's a weird mix of like starting from the culture, and then there's also the road design, there's also the lack of enforcement of rules, there's also the punitive nature of the Traffic Act, because you'll find that this thing of where you are speeding in Eldoret, you work in Nairobi, and you're being told if you want to follow the law, unarudishwa Eldoret. But if you go back to Eldoret, that means you lose your job on Nairobi on Monday. So you're basically boxed in to agreeing to whatever the cop tells you about. And it doesn't have to be like that. And as long as the laws are easily followed and are easily enforced and are fairly enforced from the top down, things will just work out, because it's just like drivers pick up on these cues, and it's the job of the designer to encourage the good behavior. Like the worst instance I ever saw was at Gilgil. I was stuck in traffic for like 30 hours. And the reason it happened is because there was I think it was a graduation happening, and then one group of guys began overlapping, they caused traffic. Then the second group of guys began overlapping, then they caused traffic. So in the end, that 2-lane road had 8 lanes of cars straight across. And we could not live there until the next morning because akifungua hivi, people overlap again. And the reason they're overlapping is because the guy who overlaps, you never see him again. Him has gone and gone your way. Ukikaa kwa jam hapo unalala like me for 30 hours. When you overlap, ameenda nyumbani. And then ukienda mbele ya ameenda. So then you ask yourself, why would I ever stay in traffic again? I almost missed my friend's wedding because I was following the rules. Even me, I'll overlap next time. And that's how you end up with all of these scenarios happening, just because they've not enforced the laws. That's it.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Uncle Finland, back to you again.
Yes, actually, I was just enforcing Mura's and Otis' point that it just come down to enforcement, the system, because vile Mura anasema ama vile tu Oti amesema, you don't get that you have to go back to somewhere. No, hapa nikichapwa ama niki overspeed, yes, and I get caught. There are two ways. Either nisimamishwe na cop ama nipatwe na ile kamera, ile speed camera inachapa tu photo. After a week kwa mail unakuja unapata bill, unaambiwa at this point on this highway ilikuwa 80, uliendesha 100, that amounts to this much fine and you are supposed to pay it in 2 weeks. Unapewa date, and you know what, unaweza apiga simu kwa hiyo namba iko kwa hiyo bill, useme yes I got your bill but mimi sina hiyo do, itakuwaje, wacha nilipe mara 3. So kama umeambiwa ulipe dhao, unaweza ikatakata in pieces until ulipe na watakupatia. Same thing, hata karao wakikupata hakuna mahali utampatia nini anything, you just write you the bill, na kama ni the offense is too much atachukua DL, but atakupatia ruhusa ya kupeleka hiyo gari home. So sio ati atashika gari, hata hautashikwa, hapana. Yeah, you get suspended, yes, but you reach where you are going and you be fined, na hakuna story ati upelekwe mahali. So you see your destination, you still make it to your destination, only that there is that how do I say it, kuna hiyo freedom fulani, as in you make it to your destination and you won't be so inconvenienced because you broke a traffic rule, because huyu karao naye ako he is under law. Hata yeye hawezi fanya vitu random, yeye lazima pia afuate law wakati ana enforce. Thanks.
TDI.
Yes.
Basi ya Finland iko wapi huko Nairobi?
Last time I checked it was in Westlands. Sahi maybe tufanye Google.
Very interesting. Rutune, I'm coming back to you. So we do have Joy Ngumi and Kuchabibi. Hugo Kisima. I hope I've said it well. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Salams, bro. Mimi ni Tanzania. I've lived in Kenya and other places around the world. So going back to the main question, are we bad drivers? And this is not very specific to Kenya. This is the issue that most of African countries are facing. Personally, I look at the definition of a good driver as somebody who has good technical skills and good safety skills, right? Technical skills meaning the guy who can control the vehicle, have a good sense of the speeding, the braking distance, and maneuverability and things like those. Safety skills is a guy who can decide that do I go 100 here? Is it safe to go 100 here based on my vehicle, based on the road condition, based on the environment? The Subaru guy is trying to entice me to chase him. Do I have to chase him? Those are the self-conscious things, right? So if you have those both, that you can control your vehicle well, technically, you have the technical know-how, you know how to go around your roundabout and whatnot, you know the rule, and you can make good decision, then that will comprise to a good driver, right? If we look at that and ask, are we good drivers? I think we're really bad drivers, right? A lot of us, we have that either we don't have our vehicle well maintained, right? Or we don't drive for road conditions, right? Because we have things, we are rushing, we have to do this. And it's true that probably part of that is not our own issues, is basically lack of infrastructure, right? The road, you have to fight for your place in the road. And if you have to fight for your space in the road, then you tend to lose your cool. You tend to lose some of the skills that could make you a better driver, some of the decisions that we're making. If we did not have to rush and fight for our space, if we had enough resources, then we might not do the things we do on the road. If you drive on Southern Bypass, you have people who are not doing the things that they will do, that they're doing at the core of the CBD, right? At the Nairobi city center, the driving is not the same as the way people drive in Southern Bypass. Southern Bypass people indicate, people will let you in and because there's a resources, there's a wide road, you could do that. So it's true that the resources are not enough. And the issue of reinforcement, I think if we have that conscious, the very good safety measure of driving, we don't do things because they're not enforced. Like you don't steal because nobody's going to catch you, right? You steal because probably you need to steal or there is something that's driving you to steal. but it's not because there's no police to catch you, to enforce you to steal. I think most of guys here, they have that sense of ownership. You don't do bad things for the sake of. You are forced to do bad things at time, right? So I think lack of resources do force us to do bad things on the road, and that make us bad driver. And this is not just specific to Kenya. I think this is specific to this issue. It's around the world, more so in African countries. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so that's something, and it's a very interesting angle, and I think it still, as of this conversation, Mura raises a very valid point in terms of the resources provided and what laws and enforcement, so to speak. Ngumi, I'm coming back to you in a bit. Joy, habari yako?
Hi Alex, and hi everyone. Niko poa sana. Thanks for this opportunity. This is actually a perfect time because my point was more of what KCB is saying. When we ask, are we bad drivers? First of all, are we good drivers? And what defines a good driver? A good driver is just not moving fast in a straight line, of course. Stuff like situational awareness. People are always on their phones. I don't know why people are always on their phones on our roads. Lane discipline, we don't know that. I see people breaking rules on the highway every time. Slow cars to one side, the others on the other side where they're not supposed to be. You're forced to overtake on the wrong side. Even stuff like patience also makes a good driver. Small mechanical skills make a good driver. Things like even us indicating on the roads make good drivers. Hi BMW guys, you're bad drivers. Stuff like that. So I think we should first define what makes a good driver and then go back to answering that question. And frankly, the answer is no. Kenyans are bad drivers if we are going to consider all the all-rounded factors that make a good driver. Why am I saying this? Because every time you're on the road, even our driving schools tell us everybody on the road is mad except you. And truly, Kenyans are literally that mad person. We don't obey any traffic rules. It's like we don't see road signs. I suffer from every time on the superhighway, people can see these bumps. It's clearly labeled. And then somebody comes rushing at you. Like almost 100% of the time when I'm on the superhighway, I have to put hazards when I get close to a bump because I know there's somebody somewhere who is not looking at those road signs or ignoring them. I don't know. And so I think, frankly, we are bad drivers and we need to do better in terms of self-discipline on ourselves. Even if our systems fail us, and I know they do, we also need to have a self-reflection and ask ourselves if we truly behave as good drivers on the road before we can even begin to sing of how the roads are terrible and the systems are failing us, which are all extremely valid points, but we need to start with the self first. Are you a good driver? And then after that, after everybody is a good driver, then we can now go ahead and ask the government to do what it's supposed to do. Thank you.
Joy.
Yes, Bob.
Are you a good driver?
I do my best, to be honest.
You do your best.
I feel like I'm a sober person in the middle of mad people.
That's what they told you in driving school. Yes.
No, that's how I feel
let me
like
rephrase
every
it for
day
you
on our
again.
road.
Ulisabot wa BMW.
Joy, between yes and no, are you a good driver?
Yes, I am. Absolutely.
Okay.
Hey.
I'll get back to you. Ngumi, your hand has been up for a bit. Just quickly. Ngumi. All right. Back to MC Richus. David Odhiambo, please go.
Hi guys, thanks for the space, and it's always a pleasure joining in. Quite an interesting conversation today, especially after having had a road trip through the East African countries over the weekend and over the past few weeks. Lots have been said, especially echoing MPG's points and then OT's points as well. Basically, to make it more or less like a point home, we know what we're supposed to be doing in terms of what is right and what is wrong, but for some reason we choose to ignore. I'll give a case in point. If you go through Namanga border or even the one through the one at Coastal, the one that comes through Tanga all the way through Mombasa, you can easily see the difference once you are stepping out of the Kenyan borders through Tanzania, or even just through, if you're going through Kigali and coming through Burundi and all these places. Kenyans will stick to the rules, obey whatever is set as rules, because we fear the penalties or we fear the consequences of breaking the rules. But once we cross back to our native soils, that's when we turn to become beasts. For some reason, this beastfulness ends up messing our own people. It doesn't mess the other people's where we are maintaining the rules. So bottom line, it just goes back to us as we've been through driving school, we've been through driving instruction classes of how to drive. As Joy has said, bottom line, it goes down not just to moving the car forward and backward. You need to know, aware of your surroundings, aware of your car, how your car functions. If you're in accelerating lanes, as Oti mentioned, especially for us guys who come from western sides, decelerating lanes are strictly meant for that, or accelerating lanes are strictly meant for that, not the other way around. Like today I was coming from Thika Road has so many lanes, but these guys, it even beats logic. Mtu unasikia kuchuna mtu kutoka kwa gari yako kwa gari ingine kuchuna mtu, but it just doesn't make sense. The matatus also don't help here. The guys don't help at all, especially in traffic. I don't know what will help us, but as MPG said, it's a trickle-down effect for me, from the leadership at the top. This only does not apply to roads. For instance, if you're in Namanga border, the Tanzanian side is very nice. The roads are functional, water is there. Just cross over to the Kenyan side, hakuna tamaji. You even wonder what happens. Just from Namanga, if you're going to Arusha, the roads are well marked. Come back to Kenya, there's no single mark. What are my signposts? No markings on the road, no lanes. Hakuna kitu yote inafuatwa. So all in all, yes, Kenyans try as drivers whenever given the opportunity to drive properly, because this you can see when you then drivers in other countries. But once you're back huko ni kama tunashikwa na kichaa. Yeah, that's my take.
Tukiwa huku tunaweza pigia karao best yetu MPG.
Yeah, kwanza that speaker. I have a question for him. First, how do those in foreign countries, for example, if you're in Rwanda, and how do they drive? Do they obey their traffic rules? And so as a Kenyan, when you go there, how are you obliged to drive? Secondly, when foreigners come to Kenya, how do they drive? We've seen them. We've seen diplomatic cars. We've seen people from other countries driving here. Do they obey traffic, or do they join into the same mess that we are in? And we've seen so many complaints. They join in the same mess that we're in, because we are all humans. If there's no rules being enforced, we will all do the same thing. We'll all be in chaos. I live on Outer Ring Road. Not on Outer Ring Road, but I use Outer Ring Road every day. And I can tell you, there's probably an accident on that road every day, a proper accident. People being hit, cars colliding into each other. Why? Because the road is just chaos. Matatus park on the road to pick passengers. Well, we complain and say, oh, these matatus, they're so chaotic, wanasimama everywhere. But what alternative do they have? All the people from Taj Mall all the way to Allsops, hizo estate zote, all the people, probably 1 million people who live along Outer Ring Road, hakuna stage. So how do we expect those people waingie matatu? Ama will they walk to town? Ama when we design a road that doesn't have bus stops, how do we expect how watu wataingia kwa gari? It means matatus zitasimama kwa highway. And then what happens next? As they're exchanging positions, ingine inaingisha kichwa, sijui nini, accidents. Pale pipeline, Doni, there's always an accident every day. So as I want to conclude, as we tell Kenyans to, reflect, I'm not saying that you should not be careful for yourself. I think there was another space where I really emphasized on you making sure that you go out safe and come back safe. Be safe for yourself. Be safe for other people on the road. However, this space has only how many? 130 people. There is another million people out there who are not listening to us. There is another 1 million people who don't even know what safety is. And it's not only Kenya. I can tell you, drivers around the world, I'm in so many car forums. People are clueless about safety. People are clueless about even road rules. It is just that in some countries, the system works. When the red comes, it's red. You don't have to understand that when you cross the street and the light is red, it can be dangerous for you. When the light comes, red is red. Whether you understand it or not, whether you know it's about safety or not, there's somebody who made that decision for you and you have to follow. So to me, it's I mean, yeah, we can look in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm going to improve, I'm going to be more careful. But there's a lot of people who don't care, who are just seeing an advantage and they will take it. And again, as I tap out, most drivers in the world are clueless about safety. Most drivers in the world, if their car hits a water puddle and starts going off the road, they have no idea how to save it. Not even a water puddle. Most drivers don't even know, and it's not just Kenya. You see the discussions we have on what comes first, the clutch brakes. Go to international car groups on Facebook. People in the US don't know. People in Europe, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know how to handle a car when it starts misbehaving. However, in so many countries, the rules work. And the rules are enforced so strictly that in Germany, if you are caught using the wrong lane, there's a fine for that. It's enforced. In Kenya, we are telling people, it's wrong to use the right lane but lane ya left imesimama matatu. So what do I do if I'm moving at 40? I go to the right lane because that's where I feel comfortable. As I tap out, thanks guys for listening. Ataka nimerudia vitu mara mingi. Thank you very much. Today I'm in Uganda, so you can also call me Sebo. Ako pila jamaa wa Uganda, I look for him. Pick up.
He's here.
Yes, pickups. I'm in Uganda. I will look for you this week.
Asante sana. So before I come to Rutiun, Bio, just quickly 1 minute. Changia mada.
Thanks so much. I think it's been a while since I was on this space. Are we bad drivers? I believe we are bad drivers. I think much has been said, and I totally agree with most of you. I think we are just conditioned whereby we don't follow rules. Because if you go, let's say, to some places, let's say in Nairobi, for example, if you go to certain neighborhoods, you'd find people breaking all the rules. But if you go somewhere else, you'll find that people actually breaking all those rules. So I think it's upon us. It's up to each and every one of us. You should invest in defensive driving. I believe there are certain institutions that offer defensive driving. I think MPESA talked about knowing what needs to be done. But at the same time, in the same breath, like if you go to TZ, I lived in TZ for almost half my life. If you go to TZ, they have systems in place whereby they have stationary cameras beside the road. So you might overspeed all you want, you might break all the traffic offenses, but when they catch up,
Bio, I think we're losing you. Bio, kindly karibia your microphone.
Am I on for the house?
Yeah, audible now.
Okay, I'll just say in other countries, I think we have systems in place whereby people follow rules and hefty fines if you don't follow the rules. So I think just in Kenya, it's just impunity. For example, you might maybe you can try and observe maybe tomorrow at a zebra crossing, for example. You find that people are not even giving way to pedestrians, which is I think it's silly. Because you might find at a zebra crossing, there are very many people who are walking all over the place. So I think it's our system. We need to change our culture, our traffic culture. We need to change our attitude and all that. Yeah, I don't want to take much time, but yeah, let's wait on the discussion.
All right. Interesting sana. Miss Kimutai.
Yes, sir. So I have been listening to your input, and I have a question for David. David, do you know that right or wrong is relevant? Is relative? Sorry for that. I think right or wrong is relative. There is what is right to me may not be right to you, may be wrong to you, and what is wrong to me may be right to you. So when we are saying this is right, this is what you should do, what is the standard that determines that something is right may not be right to you?
Sorry, go ahead.
Also, okay. So, on the aspect of this other point of why do people follow rules, I think you guys have taken me back to my jurisprudence classes in law school, and there are a couple of schools of thought, and one that I maybe subscribe to is Tom Taylor's idea. He says that people obey laws if they believe it's legitimate and not because they fear them. So if it's legitimate to you, you will follow the law. If when I go on the road and I know this is what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to maintain lane discipline, I'm supposed to maintain my speed limits, I'm doing that because I know that is the law, yes, but it is legitimate to me because it's keeping me safe on the road. It's not because it has just been imposed on me and I don't understand why it is being imposed on me. When MPG talked about other countries, people are following laws and all that. My question now would then be, do people in other countries just obey the rules because they want to, or because they will get punished for obeying those laws? And when we go to those other countries, because I have been to Rwanda and I have seen how they do, how they control their traffic, everything with their traffic is just so good, so smooth and everything. Do they obey those rules just because they know they will get punished, or because there's that culture that has been inculcated in them that they know this is what I am supposed to do when I'm on the road, not just because it is keeping me safe, but it is keeping another road user safe. It is keeping another pedestrian safe. It's keeping everybody safe on the road, and it is ensuring sanity on the road. I think we just obey laws because we think that it's a legitimate authority, not because we fear the punishment. I mean, how many people break those laws? They know there's punishment, but they still break them, and they obey them just because they know it is a legitimate authority to them. So, in conclusion, I would just say that in as much as we're talking about obeying these laws and keeping ourselves disciplined on the road, then how are these laws being inculcated to us and to the people who are coming and to the other generations? I think now it will be to us to teach our children that when you're on the road, this is what you should do. As much as it is being taught in the driving school, it should also be, you should also teach them. They should also see you doing these things, not things like throwing trash out of the window. Like, those are things they will see and they will keep doing that. But when you maintain discipline on the road, you're not overlapping, those are things they learn. They will be doing those things when they are old enough to be driving and to be on the road. So yeah, in essence, it just comes back to, are we now, yes, there's the system route and everything, but what are we doing for the future also? Because we are also trying to create sustainability just for us and also for the future, so that we may be safe and the future may also be safe. So yeah, also munifollow. Thank you.
Hey, wakili bwana, unatupea pressure. Rutun, I'll leave you to this.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'll say this: we are not bad drivers, but the enforcement and laws that are there turn us wild. Because nimesikia Turbo akisema the incident anasema from is being asked to go back to Eldoret or cough out cash bill of 5,000. Kenyans have money. So 5,000 is nothing to them on the road. What I can say, if we are told that there is no option of having a cash bail, we're just given a free bond, of which it's there. It's just us who don't emphasize on being given free bonds, get that notice to attend court, by the way, notice to attend court, you and the IO who is supposed to attend court with you should come to an agreement on when you're supposed to attend court. They're not supposed to dictate at Monday uende kotini. No. You tell them from Mombasa, because I've done that in Nairobi. I have dictated when I'm supposed to be going to Milimani, and they did that. So I think the option of being fined instantly won't solve our problems. Get the free bond. You're going to Nairobi. Tell the cop you are supposed to. The cop tells you are supposed to come to Eldoret to attend court. Give them a date. You don't show up. They get you an arrest warrant and all that. That inconvenience that will occur because of you missing court will tempt us back to being good drivers generally. Because for money, I don't think money itasaidia. We'll have those instant fines. Tatoka hapo ni boost tena, nijue mbele, I'll just pay another fine and all that. Because I'm pretty sure most of us, hata MPG amesema, ataambiwa atoe 5,000 na atatoa. Because that inconvenience ya kuwa he comes back to court in Eldoret at a feel I'm going to lose a lot compared to me coughing out 5,000. So if we can get a way of drivers who have broken the laws get so inconvenienced with their daily work without having options, naona tunaweza kuwa better drivers, in fact not even good, better drivers than watu venye wanasema tukienda Tanzania, tukienda Kigali, how we see people performing there. We can do better than that. Thank you.
Rutul. Hey,
Yes.
Rutul.
Yeah.
So you are agreeing that our systems are bad, but at the same time, you want us to have some bureaucratic system that is telling you that you can't even have a fine, you have to go to Eldoret. Why go to Eldoret instead of them making this kind of a system where they will send you the bill, and of course, not that Kenyans have money, they feel it. When you pay a fine, you feel it. But there can be that convenience that you get a fine, yes, but you don't have to go to court. Why should you go to court because of overspeeding or because of something like that? Our systems are trash.
Yeah.
Let's agree on that.
Our systems are trash. Yeah. And that, what I'm saying is, if you get inconvenienced on, let's say, you're in Nairobi, you're headed to Nairobi, break a law somewhere where you are supposed to attend court in Eldoret. That inconvenience of you going back, they'll release you and do that. Going back from Nairobi to Eldoret, attend court, even for a fine of 2,000. Then back from Eldoret to Nairobi for you continue the own stuff. That is what we need. Fine and all that tutalipa.
So unasema tulimwe punishment properly.
Proper. Sia pesa.
Rutune,
yako nayo.
Rutune, tuache kuku. Let's not reinvent the wheel. There are countries that are doing this very well. Why must we go and try our own things zenye tunajua zitawaka?
Trust me.
Look, simple countries like, sorry for saying simple countries, like our neighbor here, TZ. People we don't even look, we think we are so much ahead of them. They are doing it so well. And in TZ, you're not going to, and do you know how the fines are in TZ? I don't think kuna fine imepita thou. You're caught speeding at, you're doing 70 in a 50 area, the fine is like 1,000. You can afford it, but you don't want to be caught. It has that psychological effect of being caught, that I was stopped because of being on a zebra crossing with a pedestrian. EO2, if every time we break the law, we are caught, not taken to court, not wasted time for, but just being caught na kuambiwa you've broken the law there, toa thou. And the same thing I said, ukijua kuna police wa traffic Naivasha, why do we all slow down? If we have the money, if we could pay those fines, why do we all slow down? Ukijua kuna cops Mombasa Road, why do you slow down? Because you don't have the money to pay. Nobody wants to waste their money. If we knew that every time you speed, you're going to get caught, nobody would speed. And that is what they have in some countries. Everywhere there's speed limits, there's a camera. And if you speed, you're caught. Simple.
What was she called?
Just before I come to just a bit, Bob. Agripina, your hand has been up for a bit. Please go. Just quickly, we just about time.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate this. This is my first time to join a live. Hata sikuwa najua live ni nini. I just stumbled on it while going through my whatever Twitter. So, hey man, because I'm very passionate about two topics normally, health na transportation, because those are the two things that drive me crazy in Kenya. Najisikianga kutoa nywele kwa kichwa nibaki kipara. So, this topic is good, but let me just be brief. We have a big problem when it comes to road safety in our country. And my biggest blame is going to go to serikali, and because the question is, are we bad drivers? Yeah, many of us are bad drivers. Others are good drivers because they take personal responsibility. But the reason we are bad drivers is mainly because there is poor law enforcement. Good behavior is usually unafanya good behavior ukijua kwamba ukifanya bad behavior you are going to be punished. But because the punishment is not so serious and not so severe, that's why most people engage in bad behavior. Okay, the situation in Kenya is bad. The number of people we lose on our roads is completely mind-boggling. But my first blame goes to institutions and serikali. And my biggest problem with the government is law enforcement and poor communication. What do I mean by poor communication? Those in charge of roads and road safety must communicate. For instance, speed limits. Speed limits must be posted. There are areas where you can go 80. There are areas where you need to go 50, and there are areas you might need to go 30 or even 20. Speed limits must be posted. And once they are posted, if you overspeed, there must be consequences for overspeeding. That is number one. The other thing is, and if there are any lawyers on this live, tafadhali, lawyers, mumetuangusha, lawyers, both in the medical field, which I'm very passionate about, and the transportation sector, which I'm very passionate about. Lawyers, you need to throw people in jail for not doing their duty. For instance, in terms of communication, this is what I'm talking about. There was a time I used to live in the Mount Kenya area. Unatoka kwa nyumba asubuhi, unapata okay, kuna bambu hapa Chuka, kuna bambu hapa Meru, and then kuna bambu hapa. Then unaenda Nairobi. Ukirudi usiku, another bump has been erected and there is no sign. There is no sign saying bump ahead. There must be communication. Hata kama kuna pothole mbaya ama kubwa ambayo inaweza ikakause accident, there must be communication to warn drivers that kuna bump mbele. Mtu hawezi toka kwa nyumba asubuhi, anapita hapo Runyenjes, hakuna bump, akirudi jioni wameweka bump mpya. Jamaa anakuja na gonga bump. Accident ndio hiyo. Watu wanaumia ama hata watu wanakufa. Lawyers should take up matters like this. Sue Kenya, soon whoever is government, whoever is responsible with erecting that bump. Why did you not notify motorists that there is a bump ahead? There is this unfortunate incident that happened somewhere in Ukambani. Watu wamedrown kwa mto bwana, wakiwa kwa bus. Watu wengine wakakimbilia kublame driver. Wacha nikwambie, in civilized societies, there would have been a warning kwamba bridge flooded ama river flooded, do not proceed. Who is responsible for notifying motorists that there is a broken bridge or there is a flooded river ahead? Do not proceed. That is what civilized societies do. I'm hoping by now, ni nani alifungwa kwa sababu ya hiyo ajali ambayo ilitokea huko kwa mto. Watu walikufa kwa bus. Kwa mto ilikuwa imeflood. Driver atafanya due diligence, fine. But the authorities must communicate. Tell pedestrians, tell motorists, there is a flooded river ahead, a flooded bridge ahead, there is a swampy place ahead. Please do not proceed. Sasa mtu akiproceed wakati kuna warning kama hiyo, then you can hold him responsible. Why did you ignore this warning? So communication, government must communicate, road authorities or those who are concerned with road safety must communicate. Kuna shimo mbaya mahali, communicate. Nchi za nje, watu ambao wanaishi nchi za nje will tell you. They will have warnings, bump ahead, sharp curves, drive safely. They will post speed limits so that you reduce your speed limit. If you don't do that and then something happens, then you are responsible, and they are not, because they warned you. But in Kenya, we are not serious. We need somebody to take over the transportation industry and nyorosha it properly. And traffic offenses must attract heavy fines. Mpaka unaangalia hii maze hii fine yote tuji ya over speed, unaamua kuslow down wewe mwenyewe. So my biggest problem is law enforcement is poor, and that's why people continue to behave badly, because there are no consequences, and if they are there, they are not painful. We need to reach to a point whereby, like people who have lived in outside countries can tell us, people in the US, people who are on foot, they hardly care. They will cross where they're supposed to cross without even looking left or right. Ni wewe dereva slow down, usiwagonge. You are the one looking out. They are not worried. Wewe enda tu, ukiwagonga then utajua. They don't worry about vehicles hitting them, because if they know this is the right place to cross, they're going to cross. Wakiwa kwa simu, wakiongea kwa simu. Ni wewe motorist, you have to slow down. You have to slow down. So I want to challenge, especially if there are any lawyers here on this forum, bwana. Peleka Kenha kotini, peleka serikali kotini kama mtu amejeruhiwa, mtu ameumia. You know, these things make me regret why I didn't become a lawyer. Kuna pesa nyingi serikali needs to pay people kwa sababu ya poor communication, lack of communication. Ndio wajue, maze, we can't just do things stupidly. Unajenga bambu, hauambii watu. Kuna speed limit inafaa kupunguzwa, you don't post it. Una pothole mahali kubwa ambayo ni dangerous, no information, no communication. The last thing I want to be brief is, sisi wenyewe vitu kama hizo zikianza ku happen, tutajifunza, tutajua mazee, ukiviolate hizi traffic rules utakuwa punished, na punishment ni mbaya. That's what I would like to say for now. Thanks guys.
Wow. I don't think I can add anything over and above that. I think that's a nice way to wrap up today's conversation. Wow. Pickups, just sign out quickly. One Chabo, unaona wewe ni lawyer, uko tu hapo umelala, leo umepatikana. So guys, pick up just 1 minute.
Lawyers bwana, lawyers.
Lawyers, you're failing the nation.
Bob,
can you
go?
Okay, sawa, lawyers in the house bwana, mnaangusha watu hapa, fungeni watu. So it's been a really good conversation. It was really about, we started from Mobius, tukapita huko ndani kidogo tukakuja hapa, Alex akatuchangamsha akauliza kama tunajua kuendesha magari, kumbe. And turns out there is more than meets the eye. It's really a discussion that is so deep that we never thought, I personally never thought it would have been such a deep
I think the previous speaker
pickups. Okay, yeah. Sawa. Okay, so it's fine. We lost you on the way. You were to sign out. Okay, pickups. We'll pick up from where we shall leave it from. So the idea is SpaceYaMagari. We are always here to keep you informed about car news and stuff like those. We have some amazing thing happening. Sato tulikutana tulikuwa na kina Sir Kelvin mahali kwa garage hivi tukapitia. Kuna jamaa hapa anaitangwa Alex. Si mnajua Alex? Mnajua huyu makanika? Kama unajua makanika, inua mkono ama utumie emoji kwa profile yako sahi. Kama unajua makanika Alex, sawa, naona mnajua hiyo jambasi. So this guy has been building a project ni ya 30. Kuna kitu anaundanga na hapo ndani. So he was showing us how it's been going in a garage full of 30s and some vintage cars, a combi, some very nice cars there. And we're building, kuna kakitu tunaleta kwa YouTube. So manze, we are at a very small number there for the subscribers. Na hata mtu hana Gmail account hapa, surely. I don't think there is anybody in this group who doesn't have a Gmail account. So please, see you take a minute, uende tu kwa profile ya SpaceYaMagari. Ama tu utoke kwa profile ya Space. Umeshaona SpaceYaMagari, okay. Ingia YouTube. Search SpaceYaMagari on YouTube. Ushaona SpaceYaMagari, kuna video hapo inakukaribisha. Pale juu there is a subscribe button. Kindly subscribe. Weka hiyo kengele hapo. Tuongezee that number of subscribers. Anyway, that was on the lighter note. I'm really hoping as I say that mlikuwa mnafanya. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook and we're also on Instagram. SpaceYaMagari is a very good thing that we're building here. Our website is coming up very nicely. We'll be featuring these spaces as podcasts, and we shall also be going to the route of doing more podcasts for the website, which will be there now. And you guys can listen to it across all podcast platforms. Kama unatumia watu wa Spotify, tushawa cover. So there's all that has been sorted out. So it's something amazing that you're building as SpaceYaMagari. So just wanted to bring that to your attention, tuambie asanteni sana for being our supporters. Sidhani kuna kitu nimesahau, Kevo.
I don't think.
Alex,
Just to thank each and everyone for tuning in. It's always an amazing time with you guys on board, and I always long for Mondays. I long for Mondays at 7:30 as we always have this conversation, and you all been supportive of us. Thank you all so much. We are really grateful, and let's keep moving forward. Let's keep rowing this boat forward, and we are heading in the right direction, at the right speed, at the right throttle, and we'll achieve great heights from others. So thank you all so much. Just to emphasize on our socials, we are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram as well. So I'll be sharing the link to Telegram hapa juu. So on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, go search SpaceYaMagari. Just take a minute and Instagram. She can dive nitaenda kuongeleshwa nifunze kutumia TikTok. So yeah, I think that's all from my end, and thank you all so much.
Okay, before I hand it back to Sir Alex Manzo, the engineer, the mechanic in the house, I wanted to just also bring to your attention, kuna mtu anaitwa Joy Dinda. Kuna mtu anaendeshanga juke pale inaitwa Baby Yoda, Kevo. Is that what it's?
Yeah, Baby Yoda.
Kuna vile tunafaa tukae chini August na yeye. So something also is cooking from that perspective. So stay tuned. Parapitieni YouTube. Eka tu subscribe. Kuna vitu tunaanza kupika. Tumeanza upishi. So you might be our next story pale kwa SpaceYaMagari. So you never know. Sasa tunataka kuona hii juke. What's about it? Sawa basi. Alex, me I'm done on my side. We are good. Everything is sorted out. Chukua mic wewe, tembeza gari ile nyumbani.
Asante sana. Asante sana to all those who came in. Asante sana to Agripina for actually closing this like it's supposed to. It's a high time and calling upon ourselves to be responsible for ourselves and our neighbors, to be responsible for the laws that are made, and also to look out for guys who are outside our cars, pedestrians, and people like that. And also guys who are in government, in law enforcement and things like that. It's also a high time for you to pick up the button and pull up your socks, because there's a very huge disconnect between what's actually written and what's actually being enforced. A lot has been shared here, and of course, pick the major bits. We usually have these discussions every Monday, Jioni. This is just to have an open discussion, discuss matters concerning motoring, and everyone is open. All our floor is usually open. The mic is usually thrown around to everyone, depending on how much time we have. But we're really thankful for those of us who for those of you who came to be with us today. Tunasema asante sana. Tutaonana tena next Monday to talk more about this. Again, as SpaceYaMagari, we're thankful for those of us who've been with us throughout the journey, throughout all the spaces and things like that. To the new ones, we are usually here every Monday, and of course, we are open for business. If at any point you feel like there is a platform where you can gain better platform, more market, or more clients from SpaceYaMagari, to inbox too. We'll have a discussion, see pale tunaweza kutania katikati, what we can help you with, and we'll be happy to bring you on board, and we'll be happy to support you. And pia kama kuna kitu unaona maybe we are losing or we are lacking, just also please DM us. Let's have a conversation and we'll be able to pick up. We are not perfect. We're also learning on the go. From me, nasema asante to everyone who tuned in leo. I hope it was a very creative conversation. I hope you learned something. Next time, don't be shy. Just ask for the mic. We'll be able to share it around. And asanteni sana to everyone who came in tonight. Asante. Pickups, tafuta MPG hapo huko kwenyu. Muonyeshe, mpeleke Chandondo. To all of you, thank you so much. Have a beautiful night. All the best. See you next time.
Good night, guys. Na mwingie FPL. Alex, I think you can have a minute FPL.
FPL.
Yes, please, finally.
Ngoja.
The conversation we've been waiting for.
Nilikuwa nataka kusema kitu moja kabla ufunge bana.
Ngoja nifunge space officially.
Acha kufunga bwana.
Nimefunga space.
Wewe.
Sasa kelele imebaki.
Mimi nataka kusema kitu kuhusu Magari bwana.
Go ahead.
Yes, nilikuwa nataka kuambia watu wenye wanasikiza space na watu wenye wananifuata, nitakuwa na receive orders parts, especially parts that are hard to find, mostly European cars. So yeah, unaweza ni DM, unaweza ni reach out, nitashare namba ya simu with time, and let's see what we can do. Asante, be safe.
Jamaa alipata nini ile MPESA card, ndio maana sasa anasumbua.
Global
wewe
Hey,
sasa unasumbua.
No one can do that.
Wewe wacha wewe. Sawa basi, by the way mfanye orders, mtu ako na connections coda.
Alright guys, for those playing Fantasy Premier League, the link is up there in the Jumbotron. So if you have your squad ready, go to the link. You can join the link. And yeah, so 22 Fantasy.
Just realize you all are good drivers when you're home, when you're outside countries.
We're boosting like MPG. So guys, join the Fantasy Premier League. She can drive sijawaona bado. Unless is a different design.
She can drive anaendesha Mobius.
Manze.
Kanyambu, tuingie hii game.
Yes.
Tuingie hii game.
Usiku hii tunaingia.
Bas, FPL.
Kina Mtinda. Na kina Kagoi pia kiki uko FPL. Yeah,
Unichangia
because,
pesa
the Premier
yes.
League will be back. The Premier League will be back on the 5th of August. That's in like less than 3 weeks, so don't miss out on the action. We'll be announcing the winners of every game week up on the space, and we'll be having something small for you guys. So the winner atakuwa anapata something courtesy of SpaceYaMagari. So fikeni pale. Kuna goodies.
They said you buy him a jersey.
Bana boyfriends, we need jerseys. It is bad out here.
Tunaweza nunua pia mabao pamoja.
Okay, Alex, before mfunge space. Ama
Wewe
ushafunga?
mse funga space bana.
Space ni open.
Is Yawena getting a car from SpaceYaMagari?
Yeah?
We will send a t-shirt and a jumper to Kapala.
Space ya Premier League.
Yeah? Okay.
Send a t-shirt and a cap to Kampala even.
Wewe Nyambu,
Wewe.
unasema aje?
Nyambu
Pata space.
Oh, I wanted to say
Nyabra.
something, by the way. When I came in,
I can have that mate. Right now, I need my sticker.
Okay, utashughulikiwa. Bob, umesikia? Speaker inahitajika mahali.
Sawa. Huyo kuna delay.
Oh, Nyambu hata watu wanifollow.
Pick up.
Oh, Kimtai
Send DM me your address. I'll put it in Modern Coast tomorrow.
Okay, Bob.
Yeah, namfuate wakili ya wasini cancel. Yeah, Nyambu
I think and she can drive.
Okay.
Wewe Nyambu sema.
nimejaribu kuongea I'm just realizing the more I start talking everyone is and okay, nilikuwa nataka kusema today I got an interesting case.
Perfect. I'm going to send you everything. I'll just send you the digits.
What? Ni kama a while. Okay, so I was saying, today I found a very interesting discussion. There's something that went on today in my workspace that I wanted to bring to our attention. So other than the fact that I am a hybrid enthusiast and all that, professionally I work as an insurance claims analyst as a third party. So nimepata case flani na imenishangaza kweli kweli. Guys, there's this guy who was insuring his car and insurance value according to the agent was around 96,000. So he paid first off like 40K and then he was issued a 1-month certificate. Next month akalipa 25, akakuwa issued a 1-month certificate again because he was paying for comprehensive. So the 3rd month he cleared. Unfortunately, in the processes, he got an accident. While just doing life, he got an accident, and he claimed through his agent. Akaambia agent, but agent hakureport kwa insurance. So after 3 months, the guy is wondering, what's up? I should be getting paid. So he tries calling his agent, akacha kuchukua simu, and also akapata. He was curious what's going on. So calling the insurance anaambiwa, mse, si hatujui ulipata accident. So in short, it means alikuwa conned by the agent. And even by the time he's being given the final insurance certificate, ilikuwa fake. So there's a lot of back and forth. You know, insurance most of the time, their reflex is not to pay. So as in, hiyo ndio inakuanga default, alafu if it's okay, they pay. So there's a lot of back and forth and the chances of this guy being paid are very low. In fact, anaambiwa hajamaliza kulipa insurance yote na unaona alilipa the agent. So just a caution to us motorists. I know you trust your agent. Lakini make sure your cover is it's legit because you can get an accident and you find out you are not covered, and that is a very serious challenge. So make sure you check that you've been given the correct, a legitimate insurance cover. You know, just call the insurance. Mwambie akuchekie kama hiyo kitu ni legit. Otherwise, you will walk around and find out you are not covered, and now that will be a major problem for you. So make sure, in as much as there's trust, make sure you always, because sasa, I don't know if this guy is going to be paid. I have written my reports and, tumesema the guy should be paid because the agent ni wa insurance wako na rogue agents, they did not cancel the cover. There's no reason not to pay him, but all odds are against this guy. Chances zake za kulipa ni kidogo sana. So I'll just close.
Actually, he's supposed to sue the agent. I've had a similar issue, and instead of the agent akuwe sued, he decided to pay my client for that. And apparently, we imported a car for the client. Then it wasn't for Uku, but it was in South Sudan. So the agent wa Uku, he messed. Rather than going for those court staff, decided to do the payment, because what they do, they get that money. They don't remit to the insurance company. Wanafanya shughuli zao, and hapo ndo shida inakuja. You get an accident, they don't have money to pay up ama to top up your cover, wamalize, so that the insurance can pay you. Ikifikia hapo unapata sasa insurance anasema we are not liable for that, you are not covered. But in the long run, you knew you were covered, and the guy is supposed to pay you because you had paid in full. You have your records and everything. So what I can advise, get that guy, because this body insurance is very strict, and he might lose his insurance agency certificate and all that. So mukimkazania yeye atawalipa if on the other end insurance won't, because insurance chances of them paying, it's like 30 to 70. So huyu jamaa wa agency ndio ninafaa mkazane naye awalipe.
Yeah, well, sasa mimi I'm working here in a third party. Sasa huyo jamaa, wherever he is, I wish he was in the space. Maybe people can be able to find this information. I'm a Bob. We should just do maybe one of the spaces talk about insurance and how to go around it. Maybe someday. What do you think, Bob?
100. Most
Before
definitely.
Bob speaks, Nyambu, I think with matters insurance, the guy has his documentation, right? If he has been dealing with the agent, he has his documentation and he has all the proof of payments. That's what he should have. If he has that, then I don't think it's going to be anything difficult, because that one is now it depends with how much that is. They can go to the small claims court. That's quite fast. It's 60 days. He has his matter already adjudicated. So it depends also with the amount of claim, the amount he's claiming. But so long as he has his documentation in place and everything, I don't think it would really be a difficult thing to do. And also there's the board that is that regulates the insurance body. I don't remember the name. So if this guy can even
IRA.
report us to the agency, then Insurance Regulatory Authority, then they can investigate that, just like these doctors unions, these other, even the LSK, like it like investigates, and then it's like cushions the affected person. So matters law, this guy is I can say he's at least covered. He has a way out. And also if his insurance claim is not there's an amount he can go to, there's a cut. I'll check it and then I can tell you. He can go to the small claims court, and then he can get his verdict or the damage at before 60 days elapse. So these days it's quite easy. You don't really go to court for so long. Yeah, just depends also with the premiums amount. Yeah.
Interesting. But I think we've had this discussion here, because I've been in a similar boat where I've been paying an agent insurance premiums, but hazikuwa zinafikia my insurer. However, the insurer himself or themselves, they personally acknowledged on having rogue agents, in that ujamaa anaenda huko nje ana collect do, and remember they are being paid on commission basis. So because ni agent na anakupea hadi nini number, anakupea their pay bill, unalipa, kumbe hiyo pesa ifikangi mwisho. So instead of him making 10k per every premium you pay, yeye anachukua the whole amount, that's 90k, but you don't end up. Sasa unapewa sticker for some odd reason, unapewa sticker legit, or there's a way they do it. I honestly don't know, but I think something needs to be done. We should have a discussion. Uzuri kuna tuka kina Rutune, kina La Series, people who are good in insurance. We can try have a discussion around that, and if you know anyone in insurance, please mlete pia. We have a quick small discussion, then we can organize a space along the same. Yeah. Kiko sawa Nyambu?
That is perfect.
Aya, sawa. Sasa nafunga the she can drive. Please go before I close the unofficial space.
Ngoja, ilikuwa tu kuambia Sir Kelvin that link ya FPL haifanyi. Najaribu login haifanyi bana. Please.
Bwana, uko sure ume download the right app?
Mudiam bwana.
Fantasy football.
Sawa. No, sit niko
don't use
one. Nakwambia haifanyi. Wacha tutume screenshots kwa DM.
All right guys, from us, good night.